Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. Sounds like somebody's in heat. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Business Power Hour with Darren, Dimples, and the Music Man. Me. Hey, Dimps.
Hey, Mr. Music Man. How you doing this evening?
What's going on?
How are you?
Well, good. What's up? Two ladies. This is a true story. These two ladies at a network meeting came over to me, and he said, your show was really good, but we missed Dimples. Good evening, everybody. I just got the finger from Jim. It's all part of the story.
Right.
Hey everybody, it's Darren from the Business Power Hour. I'm not going to be in the studio tonight. I'm traveling.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, except Darren's not here.
I'm here.
No,
I'm
you're
right
not
here.
Does anybody see that? Darren is not here. Darren is away.
I am right here, right next to you.
Be quiet for a second. You're not here. What? I don't know if you got lucky.
Not the really interesting question.
That's a fantastic question, Norman.
Wow. See, I got fantastic. You just got good. I got fantastic.
Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are.
Were you drinking before the show?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
There we go. We got it.
Let's go.
No, it's...
Now we got a flaw.
There you go. Okay.
Smother it.
So, I think this is a music thing.
It's making noise.
It's making music.
Is it?
Yeah. That's so sweet. That's so sweet of you, Darren.
By the way, this is a Yankee station.
It's a
Thank
Yankee
you.
station. John, it's a Yankee station.
All right.
Unfortunately...
We got bugs in here. What's going on?
I don't know.
Do you spray? Get an exterminator?
It's that time of year where you're getting bugs and stuff. As long as we don't have bees, I'm good.
Yeah, all right. That's.
But...
We have a lot of undulations out in the field. Undulations.
Is that a wine?
No,
what the hell is undulation?
Fred, don't use big words. Hey, right? So this...
Help.
I gotta get him a cough button, Jim. What do you think?
A cough button would be a good idea. Consider that a good question that he asked?
Great question.
There
There you go. I got
Pythons
one.
and brains.
You're double D?
I'm double D. Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are. Hey, give me some loving.
How are you, Music Man?
Hello, Darren. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm
this
absolutely convinced. I'm absolutely convinced that
telling
you
you.
got some kind of brain damage when you had that thing last year.
I'm telling you that, and he called.
Not classy, but classy.
Seeing interviews by Darren and the Music Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Siafe and Norman Wasserman.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. James has just given me the weekly finger, so we're all ready to start. What do you think? Good?
Hey Music Man, how are you tonight?
And delicious, thank you.
You're delicious.
Yeah, nice of
Why
you
are you
to ask.
delicious?
I have no freaking idea.
What makes you delicious?
I think it's the cologne.
Is it the cologne?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's what I was told.
So
that
that was you told.
How was your
I
week?
wonder by who.
Renee, forget what he just said. It had nothing to do with
It wasn't Renee. I didn't say it. He said it.
I mean,
So-
we do have somebody who can defend me, but let's not even go there.
No, we had a good week. Everything was going fantastic. How was your week?
Very possibly lucrative. There's a lot of
Possibly
things
lucrative.
going.
I
Yeah, we
like
signed
that.
some really good shows. We're going to be at the Space in Westbury in November and December, and we're going to be in White Plains County Center.
Wow.
That's coming up too. So we got a lot of things going on.
So you got a lot of good things
And
happening.
you?
I can't complain. I did some networking this week and ran into a bunch of people that we know and all that fun stuff as I told you.
All right. So can we start the show now?
We can start the show now. I've been waiting on you. We've been sitting there.
All right. So we have a guest that's a recurring guest. Actually, I think this is your second or third time?
Second time.
Second time that you're on here. And you must have had fun the first time. Forget
Absolutely.
about business, but you must have had fun.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. Stuart Kitchner from Kitchner Associates, a law firm. He's kind of lawyer are you?
Personal injury.
Personal. So that means if you fall and you're really okay, but you want to sue somebody, you're the guy to call.
Well, we kind of want to make sure that you have an injury.
Oh, okay.
So tell us about Kitchner Associates and what you guys are all about.
We are a personal injury firm. That's the only practice that we do, meaning that, again, I always say, God forbid you're injured or someone you know is injured in an automobile accident, a slip and fall, they suffer a bodily injury through the negligence of a third party, we say, and then medical malpractice we cover, construction accidents, nursing home issues.
What do you do in nursing homes? Because maybe that's a lead for me.
Well,
That's a lead for you.
Yeah, because my wife is in that business.
Wait a second. I
mean, I meant the lead that I can give to you.
Listen, I apologize.
Don't talk. Okay.
I apologize.
Seriously, in nursing homes, you have a lot of issues with obviously people falling,
right.
Lack of care. Also, a big issue in nursing homes is patients get what's called decubitus ulcerations around the buttocks area or the back,
right.
where the skin deteriorates because of the lack of movement.
Right.
So before we really get into those things, I want to know how you got started in law.
And why?
And why personal injury law?
Personal injury, I sort of fell into it after law school.
Is that a joke? You fell into
get
it?
Right.
You fell into it.
Yeah.
Wow. And you were going to sue yourself.
And you're going to sue yourself,
yeah,
right?
good.
I like the term, we'll meet by accident.
We'll meet by there
That's
you go.
true, too. That's good.
That.
I like that.
So you were in law school and you were studying these different things.
Right. And my first real job after law school was with a personal injury firm and a litigation firm. And I took a liking to it.
But
why did you want to be a lawyer, and why did you pick that industry?
So when you were on a playground as a kid, right? This is Norm's question that I steal
why
all
you
the
asking
time.
it?
In Brooklyn.
Because you didn't.
In Brooklyn,
so
exactly.
you're a kid in Brooklyn, right? You're playing stickball on the street.
Exactly.
Were you thinking about being a lawyer when you were a kid in Brooklyn, or is this something that as you got older, your mother kind of forced you into?
That too. No, seriously. It really began in high school. I started taking some law courses, and actually, as a senior in high school, I had an internship with a judge in Brooklyn, and I would go there once a week as part of the internship with the local high school, John Dewey High School, in Brooklyn. And I took a liking to that. And then in college, I continued pre-law courses, and I was doing well in the law courses, and graduated undergrad. And then 8 years later, I went to school at night, law school at night.
So it was something that got your interest, something that you were interested in.
Right. It's just.
You were good at it.
A path that I was
that's good.
fated to take.
But you said something. You said it took you 8 years afterwards.
Well, after undergrad, I started to work. I took a job working, and
so what were you doing after undergrad?
I was working for a computer firm, a vendor that did litigation for large law firms.
Okay, so it was based in law,
right?
And based on working with lawyers,
right? And I just wanted to take a break from going to school. Right. And then 8 years later, I started going to law school that evening.
Wow.
And finished that.
And you were able
so how
to
long have you been practicing?
Excuse me?
How long have you been practicing?
About 23 years.
Nice.
Wow.
And besides you, do you have any other associates or such?
I work with other attorneys in my suite who practice in the same area and do other that practice in other areas of law, such as real estate, and wills, trusts, and estates, and we refer business to each other.
So when you go to law school, I've always wanted to ask this question. When you go to law school, and you know how when you first go to undergrad, they pick a track. What are you going to study for your undergrad education? When you go to law school, they kind of say after a while, hey, pick a track and you're going to study this type of law, or is it just you kind of across the board? Because you said you just do personal injury, you don't do criminal, right? You don't do anything like that, or any other real estate and stuff
or business.
Like that.
Correct. I don't know how it is now, but when I went to law school way back when, there was no particular major, so to say.
Okay.
It was an
specialty.
across the board education because I think the American legal system, at least education system, they wanted you to get an across the board training and flavor for everything, every aspect of law. So and also because a lot of questions are on the bar exam that cover many aspects of law.
Okay.
So there is no quote unquote major, and I just again fell into this litigation, personal injury mode by working for a firm and taking a liking to it and going to court and being a lawyer.
So now, when you're representing, are you representing the person that got hurt, or are you representing the defendant?
I represent the person who got hurt, which is called a plaintiff.
Okay.
There are law firms throughout the metropolitan area that concentrate on doing defendants' work, and they are. I know many defense firms.
Do you do both, or do you mostly work with plaintiffs?
Mostly 100% work with plaintiffs.
So, okay, so is that something with personal injury? Is that something that most lawyers, if they're a personal injury attorney, they're either a defendant or a plaintiff attorney?
Correct. Most
Okay.
of them are. There are some that I know that do both.
Okay.
But you always have to check for a conflict of who they're representing in situations like that, where they do have defense work and they do plaintiff's work. The defense firms, their client, or my client, is obviously someone who got injured, individual or two parties who got injured. The defense firms work for insurance companies, liability insurance companies, automobile insurance companies. So they're doing work for State Farm, Allstate, Geico, etc.
Okay.
That's who their client is.
All right. Excellent. Excellent.
How long have you been in Great Neck?
About 5 years I've been on my own in Great Neck.
Do you go to house?
practicing.
You make house calls? I guess people are injured and you have to go to where they live or in a hospital. Or
Absolutely,
nursing home or whatever.
absolutely. On weekends and evenings, Monday night I went out to Hop Park to sign up a client to his house. And I don't mind doing that. This way.
What kind of issue did he have?
He was an individual who got, he was riding his bicycle to work and got struck by a motor vehicle.
Oh.
Right. So we obviously the case is just fresh and new, so we have to evaluate what his injuries are.
Is this a $4 or $5 sign case?
Not really, because he said he was feeling pretty good, and he went back
He's
to work.
not supposed to tell you that,
well,
and he's not supposed to go to work.
Well,
Sometimes
honesty is the best policy.
you see these commercials on TV about,
I can
my
get you 700
attorney got me
times.
$5 million, and is that the
Real.
exception to the rule, or is that really what goes on?
That is the exception to the rule, and when I see those commercials, I kind of chuckle because if you read the small print, it says a paid actor or actress doing that.
No, we're talking about the two people that are principals that do, without mentioning
Didn't they
their
split
name.
up?
That it's
One's running a foundation now, I think.
what the deal with that is. I would assume they're talking about motor vehicle accidents, and in a motor vehicle accident, you have to look at what the offending vehicle was, the defendant,
Right.
what his insurance policy was. If he has a $50,000 policy, a $100,000 policy, that's the cap you can recover.
So basically, if let's take the case that you just signed. He got hit by a car on his bicycle. We'll say, for argument's sake, he was not at fault. The driver was at fault, so he's going to recover. So basically, all you can recover is what his insurance is going to pay.
Yeah.
Correct. What his cap limit is on his policy.
And that's it.
That's the max you can recover.
So if the guy had 50,000 and that's it, you're only going to get 50,000.
I was in an accident before you and I met on the Long Island Expressway. 4 cars. Okay? There was a car in front of me who suddenly stopped, and I touched her bumper. She took off. But as I stopped, the car behind me didn't touch me. The car behind her didn't touch her, but the SUV behind that slammed right into the third car, which hit the second car,
Sure.
which hit me. they were all in the same insurance company. One of these insurance companies on TV that say they have the cheapest rates. And why do they have the cheapest rates? Because this Lexus SUV had $10,000 cap, and they were all the same.
Right.
If I'm going to get hit,
Well,
I want to get hit by
$10,000
someone
cap,
that
that's
that has some money.
Correct. Without getting into the boring people, without getting into detail, what happens is, say you get hit and the max is $50,000 on the offending car, and you collect $50,000. Then you look at your own policy on the underinsured, uninsured policy that you have under your policy, and see if you collect on that.
Yeah, but
and also sometimes the offending vehicle may have an umbrella policy.
Right. So say they didn't, and they got a $50,000 cap, but I was on my bicycle. Then you kind of stuck, right?
No, you can still bicyclists can still recover from the offending vehicle.
Well, no, I mean you can recover the 50, but you don't have any underinsured
coverage. I
coverage.
believe you can on a bicycle. You can still recover on that.
Really?
Because you have to own a vehicle, obviously, and they look at if you still own a vehicle, even though you can still look at your own policy.
Really?
For underinsured.
That's why insurance rates are crazy.
That's why insurance rates are.
Because everybody is
crazy.
suing crazy.
Insane.
Right, but also people should note that in New York State there's something called the no-fault law, and under the no-fault law, a person who's suing another party in a motor vehicle accident has to show what's called a threshold injury, which is basically what's serious injury. And without getting into detail, it is what it is. You have to show a serious injury. In other words, the courts will dismiss a case that's in suit if you don't show that serious injury, such as a soft tissue, a twist, a sprain.
We're gonna get into the details of those things in a second. But Stu, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Well, the information is right on your board here. The telephone
And what's
number.
that phone number?
516-708-9250.
This is a participation show.
Right.
So
Yes.
you have to give off your phone number. As again, go ahead.
516-708-9250.
Okay,
Cool.
great. I want to give a couple of quick shout-outs. Steve Harper is watching
Hey,
tonight.
Steve. Welcome.
Steve's actually going back to morning radio starting Monday.
Oh,
He's going to be on 105.3.
Wish you all the best.
Good luck, Steve, on
We
that.
can be guests if you want us on,
we can
your
come
show.
on, Steve, and we can have some fun. Rhonda from EFF is watching us tonight,
nice.
too.
Hi, Rhonda.
I know I owe you a phone call. I will call you this week, I promise you. And when we come back, we're going to talk about deep tissue injuries and all different types of injuries. And we're going to get into the injuries that happen at work.
Sure.
And, all of that fun stuff.
Oh, very fun.
So, and
Lots
we're
of
going to
fun.
open up the phone lines when we come back. So
At 631-415-1365.
You're getting very good
I'm
at that.
telling you.
At
And he's shaking his head no. He doesn't know the number.
631-415-1365. We'll be back right after these messages.
See you soon.
From basic repairs and installations to customer requests and upgrades. I'm the proud owner of DZ Electrical Contracting, where we've been satisfying customers all over Suffolk County for over 25 plus years. Here at DZ Electrical Contracting, our customer service is exceptional. We like to think of our customers as family, always putting their needs first. We offer everything from changing a light switch, service upgrades, to entire home and office renovations. Feel free to call us at any time for all your electrical needs and become part of our growing family of satisfied customers.
right, so if you're interested in being a guest on the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, please give me a call at 631-698-9696 or email me at norman@friendentusa.com or call Darren at,
you can call me at 844-987-CBMS. That was 844-987-CBMS. Or email me at Darren@bphdmm.com.
I think I'm going to get in touch with you also.
Yeah.
I am, to make sure you get here on time.
Oh, okay. It's the first time ever I've been late.
Small business owners. Starting a small business is fraught with unknowns. The professionals at CDMS become your trusted advisors that you can depend on. We help you look at how you can grow your business and find new opportunities in ways that you haven't imagined. We are not just doing your taxes. Our experience extends to cash flow management, business planning, and so much more. We help you plan for tomorrow while solving the problems of today. So don't wait. Give us a call and find out how we can help you control your business before it controls you.
Do people think that you are funny? Have your friends ever said, you should be a stand-up comic?
Have you heard the good news?
Comedy Trade School will make you a stand-up comedian in 4 short weeks, guaranteed. Go from hilarious 0 to hilarious hero with our expert comedy trainers and online content.
I'm certainly going to come first.
Learn more at comedytradeschool.com.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friend Entertainment USA. My name is Norman Wasserman. I am also known as the Music Man. Let me just tell you a little bit about Friend Entertainment. We put on concerts for charities, and we do that everywhere from New York to Las Vegas. We do R&B, Motown, rock and roll, jazz, whatever it is that you wish. Friend Entertainment will deliver the best of the best for you and your charity. Here are some of the names of the talent that have performed with us on our stage. Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, The Temptations, Earth, Wind and Fire, the one and only ELO, Elton John himself, Kool and the Gang, and the fabulous Donna Summer. Go to our website, friendentusa.com. That's www.friendentusa.com. Or feel free to call us at 631-698-9696. 631-698-9696, and we'll see you at the next show.
And welcome back to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man and our special guest, Stuart Kitchner of Kitchner Associates.
Quick couple more shout outs. Chris Gannon, who, if you're watching the commercials during a commercial break, my new commercial, he just finished that up today. Thanks, Chris. It looks great.
And he's done all my commercials too.
Our friend Eileen. Hi, Eileen.
Eileen, you should call in because Stu here and you should meet. And you're going to have some questions. He can certainly help the people that you're involved with.
And John, I asked a question during the commercial break, and no, you cannot sue your own heart under your car insurance. So,
well, you can try to sue it. You're
not going to get anything.
No.
So, Stu, before the break, right, we started talking about workplace incidents and slip and falls and stuff like that. So, do you do a lot of workplace accidents?
Well, workplace accidents are again a different ball game.
Do they fall under workman's comp, or how does that work?
Right. Workers' comp is the ultimate coverage for your injury at work, and that's like exclusive. So each employer has workers' comp insurance, and God forbid you get injured at your place of work, workers' comp covers that.
And workers' comp comes from the person that employs you.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So I got a question to extend on that. All right. I'm walking into the building I work in, and I slip and fall. So, like, say I walk into the lobby of the building.
Is it a multi-office building?
Multi offices or whatever.
Landlord.
So now I'm not necessarily suing my boss unless I'll put a twist on it. My boss sent me out on an errand. As I'm leaving the building, I slip and fall on a wet floor in the building. Is that covered under workman's comp? Is it covered under the landlord? How does that work? Because I know you sue everybody.
Right. Well, if there would probably be a workers' comp hearing to determine exactly where you're in the course of your employment when you're, or you want a journey, so to say, or an errand for pursuing your course of employment. But if you're walking into work to start the day,
or going out for lunch,
or going out to lunch, I would say that, and you slip and fall in the lobby, then that's what's called a third party action,
so now,
where you can sue the landlord or the building manager.
Now I'm going to put the business owner hat on. My argument's going to be, I sent them out on an errand, but it's not my fault they slipped and fall because the landlord didn't take care of the lobby. So it shouldn't be on me, it should be on a landlord.
Well,
how does the law look at that?
Well, then your boss would, if he wants, he could start what's called a third-party action against the landlord or sue them directly.
So I would, as a business owner, I would then have to sue the landlord.
Well, you would sue them for either what's called contribution or subrogate to them as part of the workers' comp claim. But I think everything would be worked out. I'm not a workers' comp attorney, but from what I know about the workers' comp, everything would be worked out or straightened out by a workers' comp judge who will make determinations as far as who was he on a journey for his employer? Is this workers' comp? Is it not workers' comp? That determination will be made by workers' comp.
So basically, the first step, workers' comp will come in and investigate,
so,
and they'll figure out what's what.
Right. The basic case is, say I'm walking in the hallway of my building, I'm going to the men's room, it's the work day, and the landlord has a crew out there mopping the floor, and I slip because of the wet floor. Then you can sue the maintenance people, the landlord, directly, because the cause of your accident was due to the third-party negligence, not workers' comp. So you have to look at another party who was at fault.
So if it's a contracted maintenance company that's not working for the landlord, then I'm suing the maintenance company.
And even if he's working for the landlord,
it could get really deep into how many people are getting sued.
Right.
And then the third party, if that person had a problem, then we go.
Listen, I got sued one time because I said hi to somebody.
Well,
so it's
it's how you said hi. Smacking a guy in the face was not the way to say hello.
I was like third in line in this chain reaction of a lawsuit, and it was
because you said hi,
and because I was attached to them from a distance, I got sued too.
That's just the world we live in today.
And it was crazy.
Right.
It was, the insurance company took care of it and everything, and defended me, and I got out of it. But still, I had to go through the whole process of depositions and all that other stuff, which can be very time-consuming.
Absolutely.
Now we're building a building. We're in Manhattan. We're on 53rd Street, whatever. We're in brand new construction, about 6 months into it. And there's a construction worker on the 10th floor who trips and falls down to the 9th floor and breaks his leg. What do we do here?
Well, that's the New York law is very favorable towards the plaintiff or the construction workers. They protect the law protects the construction workers as no other state does. Under New York State labor law, again, without getting into detail, the law states you can recover from the landowner and the general contractor during a construction site. But again, without getting into detail, a fall or any type of a slip on debris or electrocution or plumbing issue or faulty equipment is very favorable in a litigation towards the worker. And they
now, is that because of the way the New York State laws are written? That it favors, because in any employer actions, it seems like the employee is the one that it's like you got to prove them wrong. They're right until the employer can prove them wrong.
Correct. usually with a construction incident, it's a subcontractor. So, and there are numerous subcontractors on a big construction site. So usually that person who gets, God forbid, injured, you would sue the landowner, the property owner, and the general contractor on that issue. Then the employer of that person would sue the property owner, and the landlord would sue the employer because the employer cannot sue his boss.
So again,
on the
we're
workers' comp.
Right. So we're getting multiple levels and the craziness of this thing. So let's talk about the different types of injuries. You talked about soft. What is a soft tissue injury? I hear this term all the time, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. Is that like a bruised muscle? Is that like what is a soft? Because some people say it's debilitating. You know,
Soft tissue, basically anything other than, say, a fracture or something that requires surgery.
Okay.
A sprain, a strain, a herniation, a bulge, something that didn't require any surgery, medical intervention.
Broken bones, right.
Well, broken bone is a fracture.
Well,
which
no,
would,
that's what I'm saying. If it's not a broken bone.
Right. A fracture would meet that threshold requirement under the auto cases.
Okay.
So it's something that is treated usually maybe through a chiropractic, acupuncture, and something that's usually less serious.
Okay.
And where you have an issue with whether or not the person has met the threshold under the no-fault auto law.
Right. If anybody's got any questions, please call in. I know, Eileen, you got a ton of questions, and especially now I'm going to bring up this topic. But give us a call, 631-415-1365. We're going to talk about medical malpractice. And I mentioned Eileen because Eileen has a charity that she does patient advocacy.
I see.
And she'll go in and make sure a patient's getting the right treatment and stuff like that. So medical malpractice, how prevalent is that in our society today?
It's sadly it is prevalent more so today than any other time, just because the nature of the healthcare system, the number of doctors, and the population. Medical malpractice is a different animal. It's a real specialty. I work with someone that I've known for 25 years on the medical malpractice cases, who's done strictly medical malpractice cases. With the issue, or the tricky issue about medical malpractice cases, is the law says you have to show a deviation from the standard of care. And what is the standard of care? You have to get yourself an expert to review the records to see if that doctor deviated from the standard of care.
So, okay,
in that specialty,
yeah, go ahead.
Whether it be orthopedics or neurology.
Normally speaking, an expert would be another doctor.
Correct.
So how easy, as in getting an attorney to go against another attorney, how easy, or it's really not, to find an attorney that's willing to give his opinion?
Well, another doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, the doctor, yes.
There are doctors, the plaintiff's bar knows of doctors or refers doctors through the network of plaintiff's attorneys that know doctors in each field.
Do these doctors get paid for their testimony?
Every expert gets paid for their testimony,
Right.
whether a plaintiff or a defendant, because they're the nature of being an expert.
All right, so I something happens. I'm in the hospital. Something happens. I want to sue, right? I feel like the doctor did the wrong thing, and I want to sue. Am I laying out all this money for the lawsuit, or is this a contingency thing? How does that work?
Most, I would say 99.99% of the plaintiff's attorneys handle their matters on contingency.
So the attorney's laying out the money to pay the experts.
The attorney is laying out the money
For a
to pay.
period of
So
time.
Eileen put an interesting statistic up, and she said only 8% of people who can sue.
Well, it's a very time-consuming process, and it's also I inform people that it's also an emotional process, because the litigation is going to last 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 years, and the person involved and the family has to sit through depositions, and they go over the defense bar, ask questions about your whole medical background, and usually they're entitled to it. So you're laying out your history and.
So they're digging into things you really don't necessarily want them to see.
Right. But if you're in litigation, you must sit through the deposition. So also, a lot of cases in medical malpractice are not true cases. If there's again, you have to show a deviation from the standard of care. If there was a bad outcome or was a risk of the procedure, that's not going to be medical malpractice, because a risk of the procedure, a known risk,
and that's why
is part of. That's why you sign those consents. If you read that carefully, that's all covered.
So basically, they're saying right out of the gate, anything that you do.
Well, they're going to protect themselves as much as they can.
Right, and they'll list injuries or anomalies that can come up as part of this procedure that you're undergoing.
And also after effects. Post-surgery,
correct.
Things can happen which you don't see during surgery.
Correct.
That's why sometimes they take you back into surgery because things happen.
Correct.
Have you ever had a situation where somebody came to you and you spoke to them about their case and you're like, it's one of these iffy cases that could go either way, and you talked them out of doing it?
Sure.
Okay, so why? What would be your reason to talk them out of it?
Well, in the auto cases, if I feel they don't meet that threshold, I would just say, why don't you wait and see what happens 3 to 6 months from now, see what the doctors say, see what your injuries are, because from my perspective, what's going to happen if I put that case into suit, I'm going to get what's called a motion in a year or so from the defense, from Allstate or Geico, saying you didn't meet the threshold requirement.
Right.
Then I have to hire a doctor, make a motion. It's time consuming. It's a process, and I'd rather not go through that.
Is that the standard practice of the insurance companies, is to immediately put in a motion that you didn't meet the standard?
The insurance companies are not there to give out money.
No, we know that.
So there are thresholds. Are the thresholds, I would imagine they would be, different now than they were 10 years ago?
No, because the same no-fault law was in place. The threshold is only applicable to motor vehicle accidents. So if I slip and fall on the street due to some ice, there's no threshold issue involved.
It's just fact.
It's just fact. The threshold or the serious injury only comes to play in motor vehicle accidents.
Oh, so it's only motor vehicle. So slip and falls and things like that, you don't have to prove that?
No. But even in the slip and fall, if someone doesn't have a fracture or had surgery or just has a contusion or a bruise, I probably would not take that case because, and to be very, very honest and candid, from a business perspective, it's not worth the time and the effort because the reward is not going to be there.
All right, Stu, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and they want to talk to you about a situation that they're in that you can handle for them, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, it's 516-708-9250.
All right, that's 516-708-9250.
Correct.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to continue with Stu. We got some more interesting questions. We're going to ask him about what he does and how he does it. And if you have any questions, please, give them in. You can, Eileen's going crazy on this.
There's got to be somebody out there that has recently, in the last 6 months, had an accident. And if you haven't processed it yet or you don't know information, give us a call. We'll give you an answer, and then maybe we can hook you up with Stu.
Exactly.
That's it.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages.
Do people think that you are funny? Have your friends ever said, you should be a stand-up comic?
Have you heard the good news?
Comedy Trade School will make you a stand-up comedian in 4 short weeks, guaranteed. Go from hilarious 0 to hilarious hero with our expert comedy trainers and online content.
I'm certainly going to come first.
Learn more at comedytradeschool.com.
All right, so if you're interested in being a guest on the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, please give me a call at 631-698-9696 or email me at norman@friendentusa.com or call Darren at...
You can call me at 844-987-CBMS. That was 844-987-CBMS. Or email me at Darren@bphdmm.com.
I think I'm going to get in touch with you also.
Yeah?
I am, to make sure that you get here on time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right? It's the first time ever I've been late.
Join us at GatewayComedy.com to meet the comedians who appear live and in person at the Gateway Comedy Club. Gateway Comedy has proudly been showcasing Long Island's top comedy talent for over a decade. Is your civic group or athletic league looking to raise funds? Let Gateway Comedy host a fundraising benefit for you. Raise both money and your organization's spirits with a professional stand-up comedy show. Call 631-790-4046 to find out how.
Small business owners, are you having trouble growing your business? Do you feel like you're always swimming upstream? Do you feel like daily tension that I can't get ahead and I don't know why? Hi everybody, my name is Darren Sayafi and I'm a business therapist. What's a business therapist? Well, some people call us coaches, some people call us advisors, other people even call us strategists. We take a vested interest in you and your personal development as a person and as a business owner to give you the tools and structure that you need to take it to that next level. So don't wait. Give me a call today for your free consultation and let me show you how you can help yourself.
And welcome back to the Business Power Hour with Darren and our guest, Mr. Stuart Kitchner of Kitchner Associates, law firm. And we want to reach out to Eileen. And I think, Eileen, you should call and ask us one of the 20 messages or questions that you may have. Because it might be simpler to talk to Stu on the phone and ask away. We'll give you a couple of minutes to ask whatever it is that you wish, because you got some good questions. So we're waiting to hear that phone ring from you.
Yes, Eileen, please call in. We'd love to hear you. I haven't talked to you in a while. We'd love to talk to you.
And you're going to be on soon.
Yes.
You're going to be on the show.
Exactly. You're coming back on. So, Stu, before the break, or actually during the break, you and I started having a discussion. And, you know, slip and falls and stuff like that. Like I have a herniated disc and I have a bulging disc. Say we found out I had bulging discs. Say they were both just bulging at the time. And they weren't severe bulges. They were just, and we have proof of that, you know, within the last 6 months. But then I slip and fall and I get a herniation. Would that be something that would be an injury that I could say, you know what, because of the slip and fall, you know, this herniated the disc, and it wasn't, you know, my back wasn't degenerative. It was I was doing something like a knucklehead, and I lifted something the wrong way and bulged my discs. But
right, well, that's a situation where you're talking about like an exacerbation of a pre-existing condition, whether it be a bulging disc, or herniation, or it's really any exacerbation that of a prior condition that the individual had. There's an old adage in the law in that you take the plaintiff as you find him. Mm-hmm. So you take the plaintiff as they were prior to the accident, whatever conditions they were, who they were, if they had sensitivity to medication or prone to bone breaks, you take your plaintiff as you find them. So initially, if, say, it's a herniation or a bulge, and, for example, and it turns, you have a fall and it turns into a herniation, you have to have your doctor state that you have to link that injury or that fall to the new injury. So the doctor has to say, well, because of the trauma he suffered in the fall or accident, that pre-existing bulge is now a herniation.
Okay, so is that something that you have seen happen?
Sure. I mean, in reality, a bulge is basically a herniation waiting to happen.
Right.
So what in the law, what we don't want to have happen is that, which defense, Allstate and whatever State Farm will do, will say, well, that's a degenerative process. That was going to happen anyway. That's why you need your doctor to state, well, because of the trauma of the whatever injury you had, that's not degenerative. It was because of the trauma that injury was exacerbated. And to be honest, usually we like to see something more serious than a bulge to a herniation. Because a defense firm will make a very good argument that, well, that bulge was going to be a herniation anyway.
Right. So but if somebody my age, say, we got a call coming in?
Good evening and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. Who may I ask is calling?
This is Eileen calling.
Hi, Eileen.
Oh, it sounds so clear. We get a new speaker.
What a great show this is. Thank you for having this gentleman on with such great information.
Well, we did it especially for you because we knew that you would like this and have a lot of questions. So ask away, young lady.
Well, I'm trying to work while I'm listening, but I can't resist commenting because I do fear sometimes when I hear these conversations that people want to talk about the money situation when it comes to lawsuits. And I really want to touch on the fact that very rarely is there money that's going to be, they call it a jackpot or an award, and actually there's really no other compensation for people. And people are entitled to get an apology, and very often that's all they want, and they're not going to get it until an attorney helps make that happen. So I really want to come to calling to support what happens in lawsuits. When we hear about a jackpot, we hear about the big win, we're not hearing about the little things that are going on behind the scenes and the frustration, aggravation, and heartache that go on throughout a lawsuit. So I just want to make sure that's touched on also.
Yeah, Eileen, earlier in the show, I think before you joined, we actually did talk about that. We talked about these commercials that we see where these people are getting millions of dollars, and Stu made it very clear that that's the exception to the rule. Very rarely does that happen.
It is, and when we talk about attorneys who get paid for their services, everybody gets paid for their services, and that's their right to do that. The one thing that I wish that there was an offer of is if people wanted mediation, medical mediation, instead of a lawsuit. We've tried doing that for years, and that's not happening because somebody has to pay for that. And why should a patient have to pay for that, or an injured party have to pay for that, when an attorney will do it for get paid during the payout? So there's a lot of information that's behind the scenes when it comes to a lawsuit. I'm glad you're talking about it. Thank you for letting me share that, and I just want to make sure that all sides are heard.
Eileen, I think the two of you should have some conversation. Maybe you could work with each other. I think that might be a good idea. If it's okay with you, I will give Stu your phone number. All right,
absolutely.
And maybe, if you both
happy to
want,
talk and work with anybody.
Yeah, I think it would be good for the two of you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, great show. Thanks for letting me call in, and keep up the good work, guys.
All right, thanks, Eileen. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Now, there are different courts for different things. And what happened in my life is that about 6-7 years ago, my wife fell. She slipped in a store. Not saying what store, but she slipped in a store.
A coffee store.
A coffee store. Well, they also have tea and things to eat.
Right.
And she was on business. She was up in Albany, and she slipped because the floor was wet. They were mopping the floor, and they didn't put up the little things that they were supposed to, and it was highly contested, whose fault it was. But she has 14 screws
Oh, wow.
in her arm.
Oh, my God.
Okay?
Oh, my God.
Would that meet the threshold? Or do you need 15
Yeah, absolutely.
She,
Unfortunately.
needless to say, had a pretty serious operation on her arm. She's okay, but from time to time, But when the lawsuit came up, that particular coffee, tea, food company wanted it to defend in a more senior court, not knowing that our attorney at the time had many, many years of experience in that particular court. They hire major league, big-time law firms that think they're really, really smart and they're going to pull the wool over your eyes. Have you ever had a situation where a major law firm comes and thinks that you're a small-time attorney and then you really got them?
Sure.
I love that. Tell a story.
Well, the situation you're explaining seems that the case was basically a state court case, Supreme Court, New York Supreme Court case.
Is it possible appellate or something?
They probably want to move it to federal court.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, I mean, to get jurisdiction or to have the power of the federal court to oversee that case, you have to meet certain requirements.
So why would you want to move it to federal court as opposed to staying in the state court?
Federal court is, they move the cases a little faster. You have a broader jury pool. A lot of defendants like federal court. I'm comfortable in state court because I know the system so well, and I've been practicing there all my career, and I just know the system there. Federal court is a different beast. It's there if you want.
Is it more favorable to the defendant than it is to the plaintiff?
Because usually it's big time people that go into that court.
Right. Federal court. My opinion is that a lot of judges in federal court don't like to see automobile accidents or slip and falls. They think it's maybe beneath them or it's less dignified.
So they want to dispose of it as quickly as possible.
They do a lot of big commercial litigations, contractual litigations. They do have these type of cases, but in state court it's more prevalent.
Mm-hmm. Now you want state court, they want federal court. Who decides which court you go to?
Well, if I start an action, say state court, the defendant who wants to have it moved to federal court has to make what's called a motion to move it to federal court, and state why the reasons are.
But if you never is one of the reasons, if you never were in federal court, and they're telling you now that you need to go, is that fair? Obviously not.
Well, if the motion, I'm admitted in federal court,
right?
So I can practice in federal court. But if the defendant who wants to move the case to federal court wins the motion, obviously I would oppose that motion. But if the judge grants it, then we have to move to federal court.
Did you ever go to federal court and kick somebody's butt?
Sure.
I love it.
Sure.
I love it. I like when the big guy gets hit.
Right. The federal, but the cases are a lot of lawyers say the federal courts are a little more stringent. The rules are a little more stringent. You're following the federal rules. It's the judges are a little stricter. It's just a different course.
On the different types of slip and fall, construction or medical malpractice or whatever it may be, what's your favorite? Do you have what do you enjoy the most?
I like the construction accidents because the rewards are favorable and the law is favorable towards the plaintiff. The scaffold law, under the labor law, it's very favorable towards a plaintiff. Doesn't make the case easier, but it's a more favorable environment for a plaintiff.
For a plaintiff, so
Correct.
Like everybody, you like to go where it's easier to get things done, so to speak.
Correct, and even the most cases are what we call falls. Falls from scaffolds, falls through a hole in the construction site, and then there are cases where again you have electrocutions or equipment fails. God forbid people are using a saw.
What's the most common construction accident that you've seen?
It's the falls. A scaffold fall, scaffold fails, or they're working.
We got another call? We got another call coming in, Stu.
Good evening. Welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. May I ask who's calling?
Hi, it's Eileen again. I have a question for your guest.
Hi, can I get your name
A
first?
quick question. When you turn away people who have obvious cases, but sometimes it's not reasonable to pursue a lawsuit or a settlement, what do you tell those people, and where do you send those people? What do you do with them?
If I reject a case, I just inform the people that they're free to see any lawyer they want. Just like a doctor getting a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion, the public, the clients are free to consult with any lawyer they want. And even if I'm working on a case, or any lawyer is working on a case for a year, 6 months, 2 years, and the client's dissatisfied, they can fire their lawyer and retain
But you're
someone
giving
new.
your legal opinion on why you can't
Correct.
or shouldn't or can't or defend them
Correct.
properly.
Correct. I don't feel that there's a threshold, or I feel the liability is not good in their favor. They were negligent themselves. It's going to be difficult to prove the case. Situations like that. But they are free to see as many lawyers as they want.
Right.
Just like seeking an opinion of a physician.
So basically what you're saying is that don't just rely on one person's opinion. People should be very informed when they're moving forward with a case like we're talking about.
Right. If they don't agree with my opinion, I always tell them you can seek another lawyer's opinion.
Okay. So Stu, before we leave,
The fat lady's starting to come out.
The fat lady's starting
She's
to come
coming.
out. And thank you, Eileen, for calling back in. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that. Is there anywhere that people can see you? Do you have any speaking engagements, or is there anywhere that people can come to seminars and see you?
I am active in the Boom Network, so I display a booth
Is that
there.
networking group?
Right. Boom Network. We have a trade show every November and May, so I display there. And I am active in local Long Island networking groups.
Also, you can stop by one of the Friend Entertainment concerts and see you there sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, he was talking about buying tickets to Elton John, right?
I said his girlfriend called me.
That was a good move.
He knows what's good for him.
I like that move that you did. So, Stu, one more time, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
516-708-9250. I practice all over the metropolitan area.
And make house calls?
Make house calls. I've been
Hospital
to court.
calls?
I've been to court from Orange County all the way to Suffolk.
All right.
We have more stuff to talk about with you, but the time is out. So we hope to see you again, maybe in December
Absolutely.
or someplace.
Well, that'll be a good time to talk, because that's when the beginning of the winter and the ice and snow forms.
Slip and
We
falls.
could talk about
We can talk
how
about
to
the
prevent
slip-
ice and
The slip and falls coming in and out of this building.
Right, exactly.
I spent on the driveway that's outside, and the fact that the lights don't really work well.
Yeah.
And as God forbid your wife has another fall, but you saw how serious that accident was. Slip and falls they can cause major injuries.
I wonder if I could have sued myself 2 weeks ago when I took a slip and fall. This
you missed it.
This
Last
was a
week
good
he came
one.
in, his head was all bruised and everything.
You see that purple sign up there?
He says
it was like that. I slipped on a plastic bag in my office and went flying into a corner of a table.
That's the story.
Could I have sued my landlord?
How was the plastic bag?
It was my fault, but I don't have to say that, do I?
But he can get another opinion.
But
I could get another opinion.
I still believe he didn't slip and fall. Renee just smacked him upside the
smacked me.
head.
Yeah, that's it. I'm protecting myself.
All
Anyway,
right,
thank you, my friend.
Yes,
thank you for coming.
We
Great
definitely
job.
thank you. You were a great guest. Thank you for being on.
Look forward to having you.
appreciate
And
it.
don't forget to take your tie home.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you got going on there, Music Man?
Just
got this.
a lot of stuff going on. We're doing very well with the Elton John show. We sold a bunch of tickets today.
He's a good act.
Yeah,
he's
well,
all over the place.
This is the second time that he's been in New York, and he's starting his East Coast tour from Long Island, from Suffolk County.
Speaking of shows,
yes,
next week's shows
is going to be a real laugher.
It's going to be a real laugher. We got some comedians coming on.
Yeah, it's going to be a very entertaining show.
It's going to be a very entertaining show. We got some surprises, so you know.
Can't wait.
We need you guys to tune in next week.
Darren needs some support next week.
I need some support next week because I'm going to get
tune
hammered.
in.
So please tune in 8 o'clock right here on the Village Connection Network next Wednesday. Everybody have a good and safe week.
Be safe. No accidents.
No accidents.
Drive careful.
And we'll see you guys next week.
8
Have a good night,
sharp.
everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Conversation, they're all dead. The lines cut off inside my head. I left here like a broken man with no idea of where I stand. Oh.